Bigfoot Collectors Club presents
Wet Hot Alien Summer 3 Saucerama.
Saucerama!
I thought I saw a flying saucer.
Saucerama! Flying saucers!
Saucerama.
Beep beep boop boop!
Wait, that's one classic saucer.
Saucerama? You do the horse math.
I'm pumped.
It was like a game of chicken for the intro there.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Bigfoot Collectors Club, the show where we talk to amazing guests about their personal paranormal history and share stories of high strangeness. I'm your host, Michael McMillan. With me always is your other host,
Bryce Johnson.
and our ultra-terrestrial producer,
Riley Bray.
I dumbed it back down.
That's
today.
good. That's good.
I brought it back down.
You got to condense at some point.
Yeah. Guys,
Minimalism.
it's a milestone episode.
Yes.
Wow.
It's episode 300. It's issue 300. If this was Amazing Spider-Man, we'd be introducing Venom right now.
Oh, dude. Wow.
This
That's
is
cool.
like it's a milestone.
The night is young.
Yeah, the night is young. We have a great guest to celebrate with us.
Our Venom.
And he's our Venom. And we also are kicking off a new deep dive series
Wow.
to close out Saucerama, Wet Hot Alien Summer 3. We're talking about the golden age of classic saucers all summer long. And guys,
Great.
we're almost towards the end.
I'm curious to know if I know what your deep dive is.
I don't think you do. Well, you might.
That's crazy.
You'll find
All
out.
I don't.
Dug
It's the
into
first time we've
files.
had
Found a meaty one, huh?
it's the first time we've had a guest here for the beginning of a deep dive.
Okay, great.
And one so lofty as the guest that we have tonight. We're going to bring them in, but before we do, sit back there, relax, keep leaning, sir.
I lost my footing on this.
Why don't we nominate a 5-star Club Scout of the Week, Riley? This is a friend of ours who's given us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, which helps because there's a lot more people.
This is from Tin Man 92, favorite high strangeness podcast. I started listening to this podcast last year after Markiplier's episode. Currently catching up on the old episodes. I love the stories and make me feel less strange about my close encounter of the third kind when I was a kid. 5 stars.
Whoa.
Ooh, all right.
Tin Man.
Tin Man.
Okay,
Tell us
you're
more.
piquing the interest of our guest. Should we bring them in?
Yeah,
Yes.
I
think
feel
it's
like
about
why
time.
waste it? Guys, we have an actual icon in the clubhouse tonight, okay? This individual actually needs no introduction because you know who they are.
I had to close down my IMDb page. It was too
Well,
daunting.
let me just rattle off a few.
All right, rattle.
Austin Powers trilogy, have you heard of it? Mm-hmm. How about Guardians of the Galaxy? Have you heard about that? What about Robot Chicken? Do you love that show?
Hey, you
Heard of
wrote on
that.
that, didn't you?
This man co-created it. A Family Guy?
Yeah,
You like the
little
character
show.
Chris on
loves
Family
that
Guy?
show.
What am I? Oh, well, hell, Buffy the Vampire Slayer,
Entourage.
But
Entourage,
I'm losing my excitement.
The X-Files, the second episode of the
Oh,
X-Files.
shit.
It's actually a flying saucer episode.
And it's a
at that.
So
flying
I've
fucking
seen that
saucer
one.
episode.
Okay, great.
Deep Throat.
Wow.
Everyone, please, all children, Club Scouts of all timelines, please welcome to the show the one, the only, Seth Green.
That's right.
Our Venom.
Hey guys,
Hey, Seth.
Seth,
how's it going?
Very
cool.
good.
You know, I just hate Peter Parker and Spider-Man. I don't know. I really want him to die, and I've got like a romantic revenge strategy plan. That's all.
But you got to hold down your job at the Daily Bugle.
You know, you got to get those pictures took.
How's it going, Seth? Thank you for being here. Thanks for coming out of the clubhouse.
It's good. Thanks.
Before we started recording this episode, you hinted at the fact that you looked into the existence of flying saucers when you were a child. So I'm gonna ask right now the question that we ask everybody: what is your personal paranormal history?
Yeah, I pretty much lived on my own in LA when I
Yes.
was 16 and had
Wait, so you're like a kid noir detective trying to prove
cool.
not really
living in a
Not
Sunset
really.
Boulevard?
I just wasn't going to college and was very curious about stuff and auditioning hard during the day and studying for
Yeah.
my jobs and working all the time, but also I had so much time on my hands to read and to watch movies and see documentaries and stuff. And so I was just curious what was out there. And you have to remember, this is like 91. And
Yeah.
so VHS is the high point.
This is like the era of like when alien
Pre-Tom DeLonge.
abductions got really popular.
Really popular.
Yeah.
There was a bunch of things. What's it called? Communion.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Got made
Strieber's
into a
Communion.
movie.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then, it's just a couple years later, Fire in the Sky,
Hell yeah.
which is
Yeah.
one of the better
Totally.
hypothesis about the whole concept. I always like the idea. Inevitably, you look into any of this stuff you hear about Roswell, you look at any of the reported evidence or the accounts of it, you're like, well, that just doesn't match. I don't know what that is, but it's definitely not what they said it is. And so then I was real curious about the other concept of us as the high point of military, like
the U.S.,
the
you mean,
U.S. as a
Or do you
government.
mean you, the super soldier,
Me.
aka Venom?
Yeah, that's me. Well, I was you could say we fused together.
Yeah, because the military has used that alien symbiote on a number of occasions.
Yeah, I know I'm not her first, but we're together now.
It counts.
Yeah, so I you can't get too far without like looking into all that stuff. And one of the coolest movies I saw, which was sort of based on, it's not about Roswell as much as stuff that came after it, but the conclusion that yes, the one guy who was digging so deep that the top brass had to talk to him. And again, this is fictionalized. But he said, imagine that you are the leading superpower on the planet. And because of that position, you imply the value of peacetime over wartime and instability. And what you're basically promising all of your citizens who have agreed to allow you to govern them is peace of mind so they can sleep at night.
Right.
And if we told them that we were constantly being visited by something that we not only can't identify, but we have not even the tools, let alone the evolution to understand, and that these beings, we don't know if they're connected, if it's several races, if it's like...
It's a problem.
Yeah, we don't know. If we let every citizen know that, yeah, they seem to be cutting up our cattle and
Those are my hamburgers.
just abducting people.
Yeah.
Willy-nilly. Yeah.
We can't really, they just couldn't acknowledge any of it. They couldn't acknowledge any of it.
Yep.
Because we as a culture were just coming out of World War II, and there had been such a active propaganda campaign just to help soldiers who were coming back from seeing the most horrific carnage imaginable, the worst displays of humanity possible, and it broke all their fucking brains.
Totally.
And it broke the brains of the American citizens. So nobody, I mean, the UK struggled with it. That's what Churchill led them out of, was what do we do now?
Yeah.
How do we live in a peacetime? And so there was all this propaganda about the post-nuclear family and like what all these concepts are, how you can go to school and be a good citizen and wash your hands and be nice to each other. And
Right.
you know what I'm saying? And you couple that state of mind with the sudden existence of aliens that not only can't we get all of the info on, but we can't even like catch them enough to say they exist.
Yeah.
Right.
There's no way that they would come forward with any of that.
It
if any
pulls
of
the
that was
rug
true.
right out from under the government's responsibility. Michael, you've said that over and over, man. What would nobody could trust them if they were like,
Well, they'd be irrelevant if
They'd
they're
be
like,
irrelevant.
we can't do anything about it. Okay,
Ain't
well then
shit we can do.
why are you in charge?
Exactly.
Right.
Isn't that that's where you get to with,
That's the rub.
with most theology, any theology that's trying to make money.
Exactly.
Is you're just like, well, why am I giving you this money if you can't even prove that
I would
any of
even
this is
take
happening?
what you're saying. By the way, brother, you are just like sliding right into Saucerama here. You're like really nailing the period that we're talking about, and you could not be setting me up better for the story that we're going to do later. I love this, but I think you're totally right, Seth, and I would take it and even elevate it on top of all of those horrors. There was also like the birth of the atomic bomb, which is like the horrors of all horrors.
UFOs spike?
You know,
after
and
that.
so there's this whole like reality shift where not only are we trying to recover from World War II, but for the first time ever, humanity has the ability to destroy the planet within a matter of minutes, should they choose to.
So don't you think that gets the attention of intergalactic travelers who are like, hey, we got a spike on one of our old sensors,
Yeah,
and it looks like
this
there's
outpost we haven't used since the 16th
Yes,
century.
I love it.
It looks like there's an incredible source of power
Yeah.
on that planet. Maybe something even world destroying. Let's go get a look at that.
It would be like if in Star Wars, like, the Wampas suddenly got atomic power like thousands and thousands of years after Empire Strikes Back. And they're like, wait a minute, we better go back on that ice planet and check out what's going on over there.
How did those Wampas do that?
Yeah. Last time we saw them, they were just trying to rip our arms off and hang us from their frozen fridges.
Totally.
You know?
I'd like to offer too, though. Who knows what the psychic implications of that post-war trauma are as well? And if these craft, these light ships, are created to some type of psychic phenomena, which I do believe that they are, then who knows the imprint that could have had on it as well?
100%, and you also know, because it's been unredacted for like 30 years, all of the experiments that the American military was doing with psychic shit,
We don't
from
talk about
astral
it.
projection to remote viewing, and they had enough success that they would report it internally. That shit, that was what made me want to do drugs in the first place. 100%. I started reading all that stuff. I'm like, the government is in on this. Maybe I want to try this acid shit.
Yeah. Well, they were also like, during the Cold War, which is the period that we're covering, we're not tapping too much into it, honestly, but they were so scared that the Russians were coming up with devices on how to brainwash people that's where MK Ultra got. They were like, we better beat them to brainwashing people. We better get like this idea of like mind control becoming a thing. So we're like jumping. I guess once you've created the atomic bomb, you're like, okay, now all of science fiction is possible.
Well, and people will say too that once sort of Roswell happened too, Russia was on high alert as well. There are, those theories that Russia may have had something to do with that. I don't buy into that. And I don't buy, you're right, Seth, there are some problems with the whole story, but man, there's some meat on the bones there.
But the problems are, I think Seth was pointing out that what the government's trying to tell us and what it seems to be happening don't add up. Like, it's not a balloon.
100%. Yeah, they've never been forthcoming as completely as they should, and that's why the American public will never fully trust the government.
Don't you think that's like Nicholson and A Few Good Men, like perfectly timed, say you can't handle the truth, man.
It's really,
You need me in that trench. You need me.
Yeah, it's
creeping up behind that dictator's throat with a knife. Like you got to be able to sleep.
Yeah.
Which I did in an acting class, and the guy just really did an impression of Jack Nicholson. I was like, I don't think you're getting
Oh,
this.
you did the scene.
Yeah, I did the scene.
Okay.
Yeah, that was good.
How was your Tom Cruise?
Pretty bad. I had the look, the thing was good. Like, the look was good. But, I was like, I think I was trying to, like, you can't follow Tom Cruise, It's
You got to
hard.
just find
But
your
his
own way.
was-
you got to just find your own way into the scene.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
Shakespeare.
I
You
was
know
too
what I mean?
young.
You got to
Totally.
just like, here's my take on this.
You can't,
Totally.
like,
I was
you're just
too
going to have to
young.
find your own way into Hamlet. That's
His take
all you
was
can do.
100% impression.
I love it.
Sure. Yeah, I loved it too, actually.
So have you ever... Do you think about this stuff now? Is this the first time you've thought about it in a while?
Where have you landed on all
Yeah,
this?
where are you at with this stuff?
Well, I saw an article today that was like, U.S. Navy acknowledges that a panel of admirals were like, hey, we got to do something about these underwater
The USOs.
UFOs.
This was in
USOs,
Popular
yeah.
Mechanics.
Here's the thing, right? Everybody knows at this point. They're like, I guess it was all true.
Yeah.
Some
Yeah.
version of it. When
That's
Cameron
interesting.
made The Abyss, the whole premise is that there's aliens underwater, or something that we would interpret as aliens. Like, for all we know, octopus are the aliens.
Yeah.
All the
Oh,
squids,
hell yeah.
the giant squids, like,
You can make a great case for that.
they're hyper intelligent. It's just how we. It's really just how we define any of this stuff.
Perspective.
Like my favorite equation is the ocean to space,
Yep.
and how much of space we have actually explored versus how much of the ocean on our planet we've been able to explore because the conditions are so prohibitive. But I don't know. A lot of the answers are down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it's also like looking at a math problem in a number system that we've never even seen before, right? We're just so young against these technological advances that we're witnessing?
Well, I think it's shaking a hand over here while what it's really doing is over here. Don't look at what the left hand's doing. This is what the right hand is doing. And yeah, and absolutely there is something with these underwater submersibles, they're fucking, the admirals, when the admirals are like, hey, we got to do something about these fucking things, that it's really happening. But
Are there underwater drones? Are people using
I'm sure
drone submarines?
Absolutely.
I'm sure there
must
are
be.
Have to be,
absolutely
right?
incredible underwater drones, but
Stealth submarine.
I feel like we're focusing too much on the sky. We need to look at the water.
yeah,
Just in general.
yeah,
that's what he was saying.
Yeah,
It's like,
I agree.
Why do you think Cameron spent the last 11 years
I know.
founding a
Yes.
scientific
I know.
institute to build
fucking guy.
submersibles that can go
on his
deep
off
enough to
time,
look
building
at
a
this shit?
All of
submarine.
his
on
movies.
his off time.
Even the
my
one that was
God.
supposed to be about outer space, he made it about water again. He's like, you
I
know
hung
what?
like a cool lamp in my backyard. That was about it. I mean, this guy builds a sub.
Do you love Cameron the way I love Cameron?
I love James
I fucking
Cameron.
love James.
Yes.
Alien and
fucking
Terminator are like
love
my favorite
James
movies.
Cameron, but also just
The man
the
doesn't
way
miss.
he does it. The way he does it. Well, he doesn't miss because he does stuff that he really loves, he really believes in, and he's an incredible storyteller and a phenomenal entertainer.
Amen, dude.
But stories I've heard about him are just my favorite kind of stories. And then you can see it in the quotes, right? When those when those billionaires I shouldn't laugh about it. It's horrible. People died, but
Yeah.
when those billionaires all raced to their own
Yes.
death
Yes.
in a thoroughly unvetted submersible, and people came to
Unbelievable.
Cameron and they were like, what do you think about these guys? He goes, what I think about it, these are idiots.
Yeah.
These are deeply unserious people. I've
Unbelievable.
spent 11 years funding science.
Yeah, why would you
Yeah.
go to James
research and
Cameron?
history.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't.
Did you go to a guy with like a shoebox and a PlayStation controller?
Yeah, and he's like, give me $250,000.
Yeah.
3
And then
liter
good luck.
bottle of Pepsi?
No.
Sign
idiot.
this because
That's
it's
just throwing
definitely
your
like,
life
just
away.
if we die.
Let me ask you this. Have you thought about this? So I know you've sort of posited the extraterrestrial hypothesis. That's that these beings are coming from outer space. But now talking about these crafts that seem to be coming from underneath the oceans or somewhere, have you ever thought about this idea that all this phenomenon is coming from here, planet Earth, from us? We are creating all of this?
I haven't really thought about it in those terms. More that I suspect, at least like the new science about black holes and we're scientific.
Black oxygen was just discovered in the depths
What?
of the ocean. Black oxygen now.
Now
so
that
now we have
sounds
black
like-
mass, black holes, and it's
Why
just.
are they categorizing it as black? Is that a black? Is it a visual thing?
I only just
It's
heard
more
it
like
on a
the
thing. I'm not
categorization
sure. I
of
think
dark,
because
like
it's
dark
cooler,
matter.
it's
Oxygen.
unstudied.
Well,
Yeah,
because
it's like cooler
dark
oxygen.
matter is essentially a placeholder for this thing that is
That's what it
clearly
is.
coming
It's a
up in the
placeholder.
equations, but they can't quite.
I don't know. That sounds like some
Right.
real Venom talk to me.
No, stay away from the black oxygen.
It's mine.
So have you ever seen anything, Seth? Have you ever looked up and gone, what the fuck is that?
I mean, listen, I've done a lot of drugs, guys, and then went and like
I've
stared
seen
at the
shit.
desert sky, and you see
Yeah.
plenty of shooting stars, and who knows? My wife actually had what can only be described as a UFO experience. but it's
Cool.
not-
There you go.
It's not my right to tell this story for her, but it involves like her and a bunch of friends in the woods, and
We
seeing
got to
the
get her
light.
on the show.
In the woods.
Which is a
Nighttime,
good-
daytime?
nighttime.
Okay.
And like a daylight. Oh, and all of them were like, "Ugh,
Whoa.
what is happening?" And I said, "Are you sure it wasn't like a helicopter searchlight?" She goes, "It was silent. We could hear our own breath."
Whoa.
Terrifying.
Any
right?
of them have recorded missing time? Did they talk about any of that? Or
She didn't talk about that, but her mom always joked with her that she came from aliens, and then she talked about having dreams about like them coming to her window and stuff.
Whoa.
uh-oh.
We got to get her on the show.
Yeah.
There's some
To be
telltale
continued.
signs there.
Yeah. No ghosts. I'm assuming no Bigfoot sightings, but if you do, please tell us.
Yeah, I've never seen Bigfoot, but it's probably because he owes me so much money.
Yeah.
Fucking Seth.
me, get you later.
Always asking for money. Always. Never say hi.
He's a gifter, Bigfoot. That's the thing. He never pays you back. He just gives you gifts. I have to ask you before we move on. I would be remiss to ask, what was it like working on X-Files?
Oh, it's great. But you got to understand. I mean, you can
It was
appreciate.
before it was X-Files.
It was literally the second episode, so they had just gotten a pickup for 13 episodes, like the pilot and plus 12.
Yeah.
And Dave Duchovny, what was he coming off, like Red Shoe Diaries or
Yes.
something
Yes.
else? And
Yeah.
talk about
and Twin
that. I was a
Peaks. He'd
fan.
been done Twin Peaks.
Big fan
Twin
of Red
Peaks
Shoe.
already. So I'm
Yep.
already like, oh yeah, this guy. And he was just so fun. He was like excited. He was like, yeah, we got fucking picked up.
Cool.
I was like, good for you, dude. But like in it, you're always hoping for some kind of.
Yeah.
My life was just doing guest spots and day players.
Were
That's
you
why-
in Vancouver or were you in LA?
No,
and
they
you
flew me
traveled up?
because,
Yeah.
man, I had that hair.
Yeah,
and
dude.
You got to believe I was the only one for this role. I can't.
So, Seth, if you guys haven't seen it, which you should, it's called Deep Throat. It's season 1, episode 2. Seth
Legend.
plays a stoner who takes Mulder out to watch like experimental UFO crafts flying over a military base.
Yeah, it's me and this other. We're both stoners, and that was the whole joke. Boy, Breckenmeyer and I really cornered the market in the
Sure
early
did.
90s,
Fucking
playing the
nailed
affable
it.
stoner.
Yeah.
Like, because both of us are really good at giving highly descriptive information, but also making it incredibly silly,
Yeah.
and then looking ridiculous because, like, our hair or whatever. I was so committed. I was able to. I got to Vancouver like a day or two early, and I wound up sitting on the corner with a bunch of street kids, like sparing for change, just to like get in the role. It's so stupid.
You're like, I'm in the pocket.
Totally. And then I found out all these kids not only had homes but like rich parents. I was like, what is this? What the fuck is this LARPing you guys are doing on the streets of it? I thought you were heroin addicts. You're totally
we can
ruining
get
my
you heroin.
research.
Gillian Anderson, did you have a crush on her?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
She was so cool. And then even more, she made a movie with a buddy of mine like right after that. They called it Playing by Heart. And it's like a huge cast. Angelina Jolie, Sean Connery's in it.
Remember this movie?
It was nuts. So I got to see her at the premiere for that. And just like say, because she was nervous she was going to get fired. You know what I'm saying? Coming off
They
the pilot,
wanted
she's like,
Pamela
I remember
Anderson.
that. Yeah, that's so nuts.
Insane.
can you imagine that?
No.
No, would have been a very different
She's
show.
the best. Yeah, Jillian's amazing.
Oh,
Oh my God.
I love
Did you
it.
see her play, what is it, Thatcher?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my God. She's the greatest.
Jaw
Yeah.
dropper.
Have you watched that show, Sex
Still hot
Education?
doing Thatcher too, by the way.
Sex Education?
Yeah.
No.
Hot
I hear
doing
it's
that
good.
too.
It is a great show, man.
Thatcher? You think Thatcher's
yeah,
hot?
hot in every role.
Yeah,
Hot in every role she
yeah,
does.
Gillian
That's what I'm
Anderson
saying.
Thatcher could
Yeah,
get it.
Oh,
she
wow.
can't get it.
I'm on it for
All right.
sure.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to play a game with Seth Green. All right, Seth, we have a game that we like to play with every guest that comes on the show. However, we're not going to play that game this
what?
time.
Okay.
I've got a brand new game
Oh.
that I'm playing for this very special occasion.
Oh.
Episode 300, Wet Hot Alien Summer 3, Saucerama. Seth, I'm going to go down a list of popular aliens from movies, TV.
Lucky bastard.
Okay?
Okay. What do I have to do?
They're famous aliens from pop culture. If you'd want to keep them, you say green light.
Keep them.
Like if
Like as
you,
a pet,
if you like
or-
them, if you want to keep them, if they can hang with you, if you're like I like.
Saw what happened
You don't
to
have to live
Mogwai
with them.
when you keep
Sure,
a
sure, sure.
Mogwai.
Yeah, exactly. He's
Right.
not on the list.
Yeah,
'cause
Mogwai,
he's
we
not an
don't know.
alien.
That feels like a native creature. Like some
Yeah.
point, some area on the planet that
Yeah,
that
it's from
features
China.
indigenous. We suspect, right? Who
so
knows?
if you-
They could
if you wanna
be
keep 'em,
populating in the
If you like them, you
early
want to keep them
1700s
around.
or something.
Yeah, it sounds right.
Way off topic.
Checks out.
Sorry, Michael.
If you like them, you want to keep them around. You say,
Sidebar.
Now
Green
I'm
light.
curious about
God
that.
damn it.
Sorry.
you know how I am with my rules, and I'm trying to pitch this game.
Yeah, it's in there now.
If
Whoever
you-
the dinner
If you
party
like the
takes a
alien,
turd, yeah.
you say green light.
Yeah.
If you don't like the alien and you want to destroy them,
Oh,
you say kryptonite.
destroy them though.
Well, you can just get rid of them.
whatever. Like off
Green light kryptonite.
Yeah,
We're not
green
gonna
light
hang.
or kryptonite.
kryptonite. All right.
This is a
Okay.
game that we're calling Little Green Men with Seth Green.
Nice.
All right, Seth, on your mark,
Yeah.
get set.
Wait, is this timed?
No, it's just going to be fast.
Okay.
Xenomorphs,
Oh man, I'm really
because they're cool, right?
They're so cool, but also,
Make the
man,
case.
they'll kill the shit out of you so quick. No, the whole goal is to kill the shit out of you, so I gotta give him kryptonite.
Yeah.
The Great Gazoo.
Is it the Alan Cumming version or
Could be.
the fucking
Whichever one
cartoon
means the most to you.
Yeah, I'll green light.
The Thing. Not the Fantastic Four thing, the
Right.
John Carpenter thing.
Right? No, that's a kryptonite.
Marvin the Martian.
Yeah, I'll green light that guy.
Predator.
See, I'm gonna greenlight that guy.
Okay, why?
Because the Predators party. Like,
Well, and he'll kill all your other aliens for you.
yeah, he's such a good
The
friend to have.
Predators
You just got to get him to
Yeah,
do
the
it.
Predator can party.
They throw a good bonfire. I'll
You know
say
what
that.
I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah, if you're not the thing they're hunting, boy, y'all are besties.
Fair enough.
Predator's a homie.
Uncle Martin from My Favorite Martian.
Ray Walston? Yeah, I'll keep that guy. Green light.
The Coneheads.
Green light.
Yes.
Alf.
They're from France.
Green light.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mork.
Green light.
The Heptapods from Arrival.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, green light those.
Yeah, they're too sweet.
Is that the Charlie Sheen arrival? Or
No,
the
that's
other
The Arrival.
amazing.
What-
Ron Silver.
How
Boy,
about
buddy?
Okay,
Such good. Oh, see, and now you're a dead man.
wait a minute. Okay, in the nature of that,
bent backwards.
the shape-shifting reptilians from The Arrival.
No, that's a kryptonite.
Stitch.
Is Stitch an alien?
Yeah, is an alien bounty hunter
Who loves Elvis?
who loves Elvis.
Green light.
Okay,
Stay
E.T.
on that guy's good side. Oh yeah, green light. That alien.
The Close Encounter aliens.
Green light.
The Blob.
Kryptonite.
Ooh.
The Black Suit. The symbiote.
Did you guys also get scared
tough,
when the
buddy, 'cause
blob like, crept forward? Like, did that actually?
creepy.
that was
Yes,
tough.
that's horrible.
too.
He's
It's an
unstoppable.
Incredible
Yeah.
effect. Yeah.
Beware the Blob.
Yeah.
It's in the song.
Yeah, it's tough, man. Because when I read Secret Wars, when I read that first Web of Spider-Man, and like Reed Richards, he teaches Peter how to use the sonic thing. It's the paper bag.
Yeah.
Spider-Man. I've had like a crazy empathy for this creature, right? Because from their perspective, you read that Secret Wars, this creature really fell in love with Peter.
Yes.
And Peter became scared of it, which happens sometimes with stalkers.
Yeah. People who take your body out to swing
Yeah.
around when you're asleep.
Oh, I don't know. I feel like the symbiote was just like could have gotten communicated with better. So I guess I'm a green light that symbiote
There we go.
Great.
Done.
Roger.
from American Dad.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna green light Roger.
The Doctor. Doctor Who.
Oh, yeah, green light that guy.
Spock.
Or that girl or whoever it is.
Yeah.
Spock. Yeah, I bet Spock would be fun. Green
Worf. Worf.
light. Worf. Yeah, Worf and I would probably we could hang.
Yeah, everybody needs a
Yeah,
Worf in
green
their
light.
life.
Chewbacca.
Let's drink.
Green light.
Superman.
Ew.
You know, I find our politics at an opposing angle often.
Yeah, if we're talking
not
Dark
talk
Knight
about what you
Superman,
do,
he
right?
could get a little.
No, I love Superman. We can offline about how excited we all are for James'
Oh,
movie.
hell yes.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. Will somebody maybe be making a cameo in that movie?
No.
Okay. All right.
Boy, but a lot of amazing people in that movie.
Are you going to greenlight Superman then?
Yeah, of
Okay.
course.
Finally, Howard the Duck.
I don't know. He talks so much. So obnoxious. No, green light.
You got a green light. Well done, Seth Green. Little Green Man with Seth Green.
God.
Maybe the only time
Awesome.
we'll
Fun
ever
game.
play this show. And there's going to be a lot of people that are pissed we didn't play bullshit or believe it. But you know
Thank
what?
God he got Howard the Duck.
That's what you get.
Switch it up. All right, we're going to take another quick break. When we come back, it's time for this week's story of high strangeness and the beginning of our next deep dive series.
Sweet. I'm curious.
Not even rolling.
Oh, shit. I thought we were rolling. That was...
We should have been.
Yeah.
I
All
was-
right, ready?
Yeah.
I do love that at one point that was their premise, by the way. They were like, I don't know, man. We'll give this guy a bunch of drugs, have him stare at this animal, and listen, if he can blow its head up with his brain, then we'll know that works.
Yeah.
Right. Here's $10 million.
That
Only
poor,
way to truly know.
that poor goat just thought he was making a friend. It's like, no one's ever looked at me this way before.
Wow. Hey,
But you know, this
I'm
just
really
tells
feeling
you
something for this guy.
if the government is spending that much money on psi research, then you know there's something to it.
Why hasn't nobody called us, like, part of a psyop yet?
I'm honestly disappointed.
I am
By
too.
episode 300,
I'm
I
sure
thought
there's
I'd
some
be
rumblings
accused.
out there.
We'll see.
You guys got to get like way more combative.
Yeah,
for
it's
anybody
true.
to-
We're not angry
to
enough.
really accuse
Yes.
you of being that level of magnet.
It's true. It's true. We have we have not gone past college dorm vibes.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm good with it.
But that's actually really cool.
Yeah.
Refreshing.
Like a safe place to discuss
Yeah,
this stuff. Yeah.
Thank you. Exactly. All right, everybody. I want to remind you y'all to follow us over on Instagram to get some visuals for this episode. And don't forget, tpublic.com/Saucerama. You only got a few weeks left to get your Saucerama gear.
What? We love TeePublic.
Yeah, you got to go. Oh, look at that. And little Nova's making a good friend over there. He doesn't know that he's taking a selfie with an icon.
Yeah,
don't try to blow his head up, Seth. We wouldn't appreciate that.
I'm not. I got people who love this kind of animal.
Yeah.
Would
He's
really
the best.
appreciate.
Nova's
really
a gentle Yeti.
Oh, hi.
He's leaning in now.
Sweet puppy.
All right, it's time for this week's story of high strangeness. Now, Seth, we kicked off Wet Hot Alien Summer 3 Saucerama discussing the 1947 flap, a rash of UFO sightings and media coverage which signaled the arrival of the flying saucer in the public's consciousness, stuff that you were talking about earlier. Since then, we have spent the summer discussing encounters between 1947 and 1960, bouncing around the timeline as they pertain to the discussion, stopping along the way to even check out some of the flying saucer-themed movies that were made during the period to get an idea of how mass culture was perceiving the phenomena.
Yeah.
Now it's time to circle back to the summer of 1952, the summer that inspired Saucerama, perhaps the first true Wet Hot Alien summer.
What?
That summer saw a massive uptick in flying saucer activity around the globe. One major factor was that the U.S. was in the middle of the Korean War, as well as the Cold War, and President Truman had started a volunteer civilian program to keep the military's eye out for any potential foreign threats. The Ground Observer Corps, as it was called, was touted to have a membership of around 200,000 civilians whose duty was to literally just watch the skies.
See something, say something.
That's right. First version.
Neighborhood Skywatch, bitch.
So it's only natural that they started reporting some activity. Just about 1,500 UFO reports flooded into Project Blue Book at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Dayton, Ohio that year.
Dude, that's a lot. 'Cause if we know only 10% are reported, times that by 10, dude.
So
it's like 11,000.
Project Blue Book.
It's a high concentration of citizens that are all doing the same thing.
That's another good
You
point.
don't know. They could have like 10 reports from a single person.
I was just still impressed how fast I got to 11,000.
Well, you should be impressed.
Totally
because
fair. I'm just over here naysaying. I don't even have a dog in the fight.
You really are the venom of this podcast.
Yes. Stop talking about the dark oxygen.
So, Project Blue Book was the official UFO program headed by Captain Edward J. Ruppelt. We've talked about him this summer. In 1952, Bryce, you're onto something, saw the largest reporting numbers of UFOs in the project's 17-year history. So even after this. And the most events happened over that summer. 148 reports in June, 536 in July, 236 in August, and 124 in September.
Wow.
Out of the 1,500 reports that whole year, Project Blue Book deemed 303 of them being caused by unknown origins.
That's huge.
Those are ones they couldn't explain. The 1952 flap had newspapers around the globe asking the question, are aliens visiting Earth? Strap-in Club Scouts, Saucerama has all been leading up into this moment. The kickoff of our summer deep dive series, The Invasion of the Flying Saucers, Part 1. Now, I usually ask Riley, and Seth, this question is going to go to you too. Whenever we do our deep dives, what do you know about the UFO flap of 1952? Either of you. Have you heard of this before?
I guess I haven't heard that
Are you
title before,
Are you
but I'm
familiar with the
with
term
that.
of flap? Do you
No.
know? So flap, Bryce, you want to explain what flap is?
Is
Sure,
that
flap is
when
like
everybody's internet got hacked and all those dirty pictures?
Yeah.
We'll
got
call that
exposed.
flap number 2. But the flap in referring to UFOs, and this is like when a bunch of them happen at a certain time, it's called a flap. You know what I mean? So this is like the biggest flap in almost UFO history. There was a flap in Topanga Canyon in the 80s or 90s. So flaps are like when they're like sort
High
of
concentration of activity.
Thank you.
There we go.
I just got reminded of something I meant to
Tell us.
suggest.
Yes, perfect.
Well, we were talking about the potential of black holes and wormholes and
Right.
what is or is not like a gateway relay.
Portals, energy zones, ley lines, vortexes.
You know what I'm saying? There's so much crazy energy all over this planet that's
100%.
been documented to the degree that we even are able to understand it. It could stand to reason that at the center of the ocean or at the center of the planet are.
Lost colony, an underground Earth. Sorry, I
Well, I
let
was
you
just
finish.
gonna even just like portals. Like if you could go deep enough into the ocean, you could come out a galaxy away.
I love
Right.
this.
Well, it's so reasonable. It seems reasonable.
Yeah,
just the
why
fact,
not, is
the
what I
fact that
say.
the black matter is what like resolves all the equations, or dark matter, whether we're like, well, this we understand. 99% of it is this other thing. Don't worry about that.
Well, and if there is a species traversing the galaxy or the known universe, and they have found a way to sort of highway to our Earth, and maybe that's what these energy portals could be, like established routes. You know, like we've already set up shit over at Giza. You can either go there or you can go to Santa Fe. You know, we've got
you get a
some
little ping on
substations.
your ding dang.
Do you think we're just like an off-ramp planet?
Yeah,
we're just
totally.
kinda like
If you fly over,
my God, a
if you
gas
fly
station.
over the Nazca Desert, that's what it fucking feels like.
yeah,
Dude, we're like a solar gas station, a fucking 7-Eleven.
yeah.
Well, if one were
love
looking back on history and wanted to pinpoint the moment that flying saucers or the concept of extraterrestrial life visiting Earth went definitively mainstream, one may not need to look further than the April 7th, 1952 issue of Life magazine. Life had been in the UFO game for a hot minute, having published the McMinnville UFO photos a year and a half earlier in 1950, which we covered earlier this summer. But the April 7th issue, featuring the blonde bombshell herself, Marilyn Monroe, on its cover.
That's the UFO issue?
Yes, this is April 7th, 1952.
Nothing over here to look at.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
See what I'm saying?
Life
I
asked
actually want to see
its
that again.
audience to take the flying saucer phenomena into serious consideration, with a headline printed above Marilyn's bare shoulder that read, "There is a case for interplanetary saucers." The article, written by H.B. Derrick Jr. and Robert Gina, entitled "Have We Visitors from Space?" lifted the veil on Project Blue Book, revealing to the American public that the U.S. Air Force had been investigating reports of UFOs since Kenneth Arnold's sighting over Washington State in 1947. Basically, it was the 2017 New York Times article.
Yeah.
And while the authors admit that in many cases Project Blue Book had collected could be explained or could be written off as hoaxes, there were still those many that remained mysterious.
303 of them.
The article was written with full cooperation of Ruppel, and you have to wonder how much Life was and wasn't allowed to talk about. But honestly, it's a pretty bold article that strongly supports the idea that UFOs are extraterrestrial in nature. And after that, sightings skyrocket. Tit. And this wasn't just in the States, this was a worldwide phenomenon. On April 30th, two white objects, one after another, described as flying saucers, were seen zooming in the skies above the South Korean border by Heavy Mortar Company, 180th Regent. PFC HB Webb from Oklahoma reported this.
Oh my God! What if my dad served in Korea? What if he was a witness? Could have been him, but it's not. I'm going to keep reading. They were going about 900,000 miles per hour, we estimated. A trail different from the jet stream appeared behind them. They were too speedy for jets. Come on! I've seen jets before. When the things were almost out of sight, they suddenly folded end over end. Who does that? Spiraling towards the earth.
It would appear that flying saucers were taking interest in military bases and weapons testing sites. On April 18th,
My birthday.
a fleet of flying discs was seen cascading over an atomic testing site near Nellis Air Force Base outside of Las Vegas. The crafts, estimated to be flying in an irregular formation at 40,000 feet, were spotted by a technical sergeant and civilian workers. Flying saucers also began showing up near nations' capitals. On that same day, April 18th, southwest of Ottawa, Canada, over Burlington Beach, Hamilton, several witnesses reported a light blue stationary saucer that was first mistaken for a blimp. The craft surrounded itself in a brownish vapor before disappearing.
Poop vapor. Sorry.
Yeah, it was fart cloud.
So low.
Here's the account from smelt fisherman Gordon Cordner.
Oh, we spotted it around 7 and it hovered at a low altitude for what seemed like 30 minutes, eh? It disappeared for a short time, then reappeared. That's weird. The second time we saw it, it looked whiter, or at least a lighter color, you know?
Hey man, you better get back to that boat of smelt.
You know, we gotta tour this fish around Ottawa.
Well, get to making some fish sticks.
Oh, whoever smelt it dealt it. That's what I always say.
There was also the massive UFO flap over Washington, D.C. in July, but more on that later. On May 5th...
Who you calling moron?
On May 5th, 1952, journalist Yao Martins and the photographer Eduardo Keffel claimed to have seen a flying disc in the vicinity of Barra de Tijuca in Brazil. Keffel snapped photographs of the UFO, which were published by the magazine O Cruzeiro. The photo, which we discussed on last week's episode of The Other Side, became a gold standard for UFO photography, and up to that point, Brazil's most compelling piece of evidence. There you go. It looks like a flying hubcap. It's a flying saucer.
That's
It's a
cool.
flying saucer. Check out The Other Side for more episode on that. On June 15th, in Italheim, Brazil, a woman was abruptly awoken by an explosion and blast of blue light. She peered out the window to see a fleet of flying saucers hovering 3 feet off the ground, a mere 600 feet from her bedroom. She watched for 30 minutes as 2 figures stood on the lip of one of the crafts, peering into the night sky before finally the fleet departed one by one.
What? That's crazy.
I lost my cat. Misty!
This wasn't the only report of pilots associated with flying saucers. On July 11th in Hasselbach, Germany, a man named Oskar Link, former mayor of Gleimerhausen, West Berlin, and his daughter Gabrielle were walking down a rural road after their motorcycle blew a tire. In the nearby woods, they spotted 2 figures in silver jumpsuits examining the area around a landed pink-colored saucer.
Cool.
The craft was about 24 feet in diameter and had a row of windows around the rim and a black turret on top. One of the silver-suited pilots carried a flashing box.
Was this guy from Berlin?
He's from Germany.
At that moment, my daughter, who had remained a short distance behind me, called to me. The 2 men must have heard my daughter's voice because they immediately jumped into Chronicle Tower and disappeared inside. Now, the sides of the objects on which the holes had been opened began to glitter. Its color seemed green, but later turned to red. At the same time, I began to hear a slight hum. As the brightness and the hum increased, the conical tower began to slide down into the center of the object. The whole object then began to rise slowly from the ground and rotate like a top.
Now surrounded by flames, the craft lifted up into the air and flew away.
I would have thought that both my daughter and I were dreaming if it were not for the following elements involved. When the object had disappeared, I went to the place where it had been. I found a circular opening in the ground, and it was quite evident that it was freshly dug. It was exactly the same shape as the conical tower. It was then I was convinced I was not dreaming.
This guy was kind of cool. He escaped from the Soviet zone. He fled for
I
his
usually,
he just
I
took
usually
his
get
family.
more laughs.
That was great. That was great.
No, I was into it.
That was great.
I was
They're
envisioning
laughing at
more
More of a
home.
dramatic read.
I was
That was-
envisioning the sauce.
That was
No,
wonderful.
I can do drama, guys.
No, it's okay.
Just expect the laughs.
Yeah, no, it was fantastic.
I was that.
Still not getting laughs.
upset.
He's a little upset.
Oh,
I'm excited.
no, it's totally cool. guys.
I'm excited to talk
this
about this
stuff,
guy is
Seth.
kind of a low-key hero.
We're all just like, yeah, totally.
I'm into the pink box and the burn in the ground, and oh my god,
This,
that's
a lot
fucking
of these
crazy.
flying saucers have those cylinders like the
Yeah.
ones in Earth
the
versus
movie.
the Flying
Yeah.
Saucers. All right, so then there's the strange case of Carlos Rossi, who on July 25th, 1952, at 3 o'clock in the morning, was fishing in River Serchio in San Pietro, Las Vico Luca, Tuscany, Italy. Rossi claims that he was approached by a dark disc-like craft lined with windows with a cylindrical transparent turret running through the center, sucking water through a long hose out of the river. According to Rossi, the windows glowed orange, and there were 5 propellers along the underside of the saucer and 3 propellers on the top side. A human-looking man wearing what resembled a deep-sea diving suit. Okay, somebody called James Cameron.
There you go.
Appeared I prepared something for you.
It's
Seth.
just Cuba Gooding Jr. in Men of Honor.
Crush that role.
This figure pops his head out of a porthole in the top turret, looks around, and then pointed his finger at Rossi. Rossi began to run out of fear, but was suddenly shocked by a green ray that emitted from the guy's finger, sent an electrical buzz throughout Rossi's body.
Really?
He recovered to see the craft flying off to the east, and some days later, Rossi claims that he was visited by a man in a dark suit with an angular face and Scandinavian accent who asked him about the flying saucer.
There you go.
The man gave Rossi a cigarette with a strange gilded symbol on its side, and once smoked, Rossi began to feel nauseous and dizzy. The man then yanked the weird cigarette away,
smoked it.
crumpled it up,
Who are you? What's this? Give it to me.
and tossed it in the river. Rossi felt that this man was there to intimidate him. So this is
Nobody intimidates me. I intimidate you. Give me your cigarette.
I like that this Italian man is like
Who are you?
Appalachia.
I'm not going to smoke.
There you go.
Hey, get this out of my mouth. Okay, I just inhaled 5 or 4, 7
Was that who you were looking for? Huh? You find him?
I like these cigarettes with like weird symbols on it.
Yeah.
Do you think he just like smoked a joint?
It's just some weed.
Yeah, it's just some weed.
Intergalactic weed, dude.
Hey man,
It's all good.
smoke this, man.
So man, you see a flying saucer? It turns out to just be all those kids that Seth was hanging out with in Vancouver.
You wanna go to outer space?
You want to go to my dad's house? He's got a game room in his basement.
You ever watch Ferris Bueller's Day Off? that's like my dad, like the like he'll kill me part. It's like what?
What?
Are you okay? I thought you wanted to talk about a flying saucer.
Yeah. Let's escape this real world.
Let's just fucking go, man. That July, discs were appearing everywhere, from Utah all the way to Morocco. But by far the most exciting and headline-making news would be about what occurred over Washington, D.C. from July 19th to July 29th. And we're going to get into all of that and how it led up to one of the most intriguing UFO occupant cases of all time next week in the invasion of the flying saucers.
What?
Part 2.
Wow.
Oh, man,
Occupants.
You're here
going to
for a
miss
cliffhanger.
Occupants.
You're welcome to come back.
What a tease. Yeah, Seth was in episode 301. So weird.
He was in the pilot for this series, and then he wasn't asked back. We don't know why.
So I have a
think it's
question.
because nobody laughed at that accent.
I was in first position on another podcast, and that one went, so I had to do it.
You got to do it. What does it mean, occupant, though? Does that that's different from pilot?
Well, I'm just saying something that comes out of a flying saucer.
Okay, I like it. I like that word, though.
An alien,
Yeah.
you want to call
Yeah,
it?
no,
I don't
I
know.
like occupant.
I got to think of different words for all these things.
Yeah,
We
no,
talk
no,
about
it's
them
good.
so
300
often.
Captured my
you know.
attention.
Seth,
Yeah.
what do you think about this? The flap of 1952 so far, this huge uptick in activity. People are starting to see aliens. It's happening all over the world, not just in the U.S.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? And it's probably just that because there was some attention put on it, there was a lot of reporting.
I agree.
And especially like the way that anybody there was such an active discrediting of anybody who would even talk about any of this stuff.
Right.
Unfortunately,
Scientists,
yep.
military,
Oh, hell
anybody
yeah.
would even talk about it. It was such an active,
An academic washing.
yeah, which is unfortunate because I understand the notion of everybody being able to sleep at night, but I also believe in like
Science.
thorough, patient investigation. And,
Yeah, let's
course,
look into
yeah.
it.
yeah.
Why not? Maybe this guy smoked a weird cigarette. Maybe it was just a teen from Vancouver.
Yeah.
Let's find
What
out.
do you make of all these? And this is one of the details I've always loved about the pilots or the occupants are the strange suits they wear, because they always seem to wear
The silver jumpsuits?
like a silver jumpsuit. Sometimes they have a belt.
Yeah, they have a lot of
maybe-
belt with discs on them,
Yeah,
and then the guys in the silver jumpsuits had like light boxes.
I mean,
that
where
they were
these guys
carrying around.
shop must be the coolest fucking store to get gear, because all these cases.
I just feel like they're digging around the dumpsters at the Warner Brothers.
all very
It's like they get them out of the
Yeah.
back lot.
Sometimes we think it's what the phenomenon thinks we think somebody from the future looks like.
Well, that was my favorite aspect of the Zemeckis movie Contact, which was that Jodie Foster's the father, David Morse, was the one to communicate with her, and he even explained it's like, hey, we wanted to give you something that would not be upsetting, something familiar, something comfortable, something that actually offers us this ease of first step into trust
Yeah,
and communication. Did you guys watch Three Body
But
Problem?
do you think that was her
Not
father?
yet. I've been
or-
wanting to read the
Yeah,
book, and I
me
haven't
neither.
read the book yet. I hear it's great.
It is really great, and it's like it's some of the more profound sci-fi that's been
You watched it.
made in
Yeah, I
long
loved it.
form. Like people don't make shows like this, so it was kind of exciting
Yeah.
to see these questions get asked, even though it is. And this is not a spoiler
No,
to
no,
say
it's
it's
fine.
an epic story that takes place over like 800 years.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're right at the beginning of it, and you sort of strap in, and you're like, "Oh shit,
We got a ways to go.
this is gonna go the distance. Huh? Most of these characters are just gonna die, I guess." And not in the cool George R. R. Martin. No shit, that guy's head
Yeah.
is gone kind of way.
Just
Just
like,
like,
I'll be here
oh,
for
it
it.
slowly died, and we
Yeah,
watched them
blink and it's-
not be able to see their life's work actually
God.
come to fruition. That's fair.
Seems fair.
But they're posing all of the questions of even an alien race lacking the capacity to lie.
Yeah.
You know, or
that,
inveigle or disguise, and being sort of horrified and being forced into an offensive because humans are so fallible.
Yeah.
It's just an interesting premise to even explore because it more supports the idea that like, who the fuck is looking for us? Nobody's gonna. You think people are the aliens that have figured out light speed travel and warp drive and like psychically controlling energy that can power a space vehicle? You think they give a fuck about what Trump's thread count
Yeah.
is? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
nobody gives
truly.
a shit about this.
No, they're
Truly.
so below them.
they're
just-
still
they just
still
need an
fighting
Earth
over which
Slurpee.
color they are.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We're not going to learn anything from these monkeys.
No.
Yeah.
100%.
We'll refuel
should-
there. We'll get some
Yeah,
snackies.
we'll take a
and
few
we'll get on our
pictures.
way. We'll take a few pictures.
We'll collect some DNA. We'll
Brad,
check
get
in.
back in the craft.
10
Get back
minutes.
in here.
Yeah.
You were out of this
Yeah,
crap.
yeah.
You know, if we
Dismantle
breed
a few atomic
handful of them,
weapons.
yeah, if we breed a handful of them, we can really like use their dopamine as a drug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Let's get high on adrenaline.
That would be sick.
That actually would explain it all. The aliens
that
are
makes
just
a lot
getting
of
high
sense.
on us.
Right.
We're their whippets.
we are the parking lot of the Grateful Dead concert.
I'd be like, no, dude, you can have it.
I'm just gonna
let me party with you.
Yeah, I'm just gonna stop off on Earth and get a little marrow out of us. Those little woodland creatures we discovered.
You just suck them dry. They're real quick, like little Pop Tarts.
You just gotta rip them out of those cans. You know,
Oh my gosh, look, they're still playing Office.
Seth Green, thank you so much for being here, man. This has
Thanks,
been
man.
Pleasure.
so
thank
fun.
you.
Yeah, this is a lot of fun.
You're a delight. Where? What, do you want anything to plug? You got anything to plug? Tell people where to get all your stuff.
Jesus, I don't know, man.
You're not a hard man to find. I feel
A lot of
Seriously.
stuff. I feel like you make me feel like Dennis Leary showing up on Conan O'Brien with all my DVDs.
Yeah, dude, great. We
Man.
love physical media.
Google me. There's so much
Yeah,
stuff.
there's stuff there.
You could even go watch Camp WWE on Peacock. Like, all my shit is out there.
I
You could
think
just-
literally you could just walk out the door and go, Seth Green, and then like something that he's been in will show up.
No
you'll
doubt.
find
Your
it.
phone
There was a
algorithm.
weird moment before streaming where somebody told me that they saw something I was in on TV, and then they started like jumping around, and I was on 7 different channels.
Whoa.
Oh, whoa.
You're like the new Kevin Bacon. That's the new game. Will be you.
I wanna tell you, I've spent a lot of time thinking about this.
Yeah.
Kevin and I know each other in real life. There was a point, I don't know, 10 years ago, that I got him on Robot Chicken, and as I shook his hand, I go, "We're closing the gap right now.
Oh no!
I'm officially a conduit."
Yeah.
And you have to understand, because I've worked with so many people, they are all 1 degree from Kevin.
Wow.
Yeah.
You opened a major branch.
That's it, guys. I helped solve world hunger.
That is amazing. One
love
step
it.
at a time.
Awesome,
No.
man. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank
dude.
you.
Seriously.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks, man.
That's fun.
All right, everybody. Before we head over to Collector's Corner, let's thank some Club Scouts who have recently joined us over on BCC, The Other Side. It's time for some Patreon shout-outs. Becca.
Thanks, Becca.
Michael Orsi. Cosmeteer.
Thank you, Michael. Welcome.
Hannah Bonana.
Thank you, Anna Banana.
Welcome back. Katie Hedden. Cosmeteer.
Thank you, Katie. Welcome.
Raven Rush. Hi, Raven.
Thank
Hi,
you,
Raven.
Rush.
And Kyler Tovar, my favorite name of the week, just
Thank
because
you,
it
Kyler.
sounds
That's a cool
like,
name.
and they sound like they have a like Star Wars name.
Yeah.
Kyler Tovar.
Yeah.
Join us at patreon.com/BigfootCollectorsClub and unlock total access to BCC. Now, I'm going to break this down because it's been a minute. It's our 300th episode. So here's the deal.
Break it down, Michael.
Here's what the other side's all about, because you might be wondering. You might have seen it on our Instagram at Bigfoot Collectors Club and gone, what are they talking about? So for $5 a month, you get 3 bonus episodes every month, plus access to the entire exclusive episode archives, which are over 265 episodes by now. So almost twice the show.
Did you say just $5?
$5 a month for just that.
That's cray.
Which is a ton. Plus, you get access to the BCC Discord, so you can hang out with them. You can get on the chat boards over on the Patreon website itself. We have a lot of interaction over there. We read the comments. We chime in with all of that. And the best part is you get a link that you drop into your podcast app, and you just listen to it like you do this podcast. You do not have to be on the Patreon site to listen. You get an RSS feed, boom, it's in your favorite podcast app.
Boom.
Then for only $4 more, $9 a month. By the way, I had a real dad moment the other day.
Yeah.
You just did again when you took off your
Yeah.
glasses.
I had a real.
Sorry, you're having one right now.
Well, let me finish the point. Then I'll get back to
Carry
it.
on.
$9 a month. You upgrade to the Cosmeteer membership. That gets you 3 bonus music scores from Riley, like the one you just heard, which sometimes last 45 minutes long.
Sure.
They're like full album lengths, plus access to all of those. And beginning with April's episodes of this year, ad-free episodes.
That's right.
So you get this episode that you're listening to right now, ad-free, Wednesday, the day it comes out, and you'll have all of that in one feed on your podcast app for just $9 a month. You because you get those bonus episodes too. Here's the thing that I was thinking about. So I went over to we were out of coffee the other day. I walked over to I'm not worried about shouting them out. Café de Solor on Cahuenga. Love that place.
Yeah. Let's see.
Went in, got a latte, like a large oat milk latte.
Okay.
It was $10.
Shut the front door.
God.
Get out of
with
town.
tip, with like $1 tip. It was like it was 10. It was like over $9.
Get in your car, fill up gas, and get out of town right now.
And I literally had the thought where I was like, our entire Patreon costs less than this oat milk latte that I'm never gonna buy again.
You'll sip it in 20 minutes.
And it's gone in 20 minutes. You get the whole thing.
If you're a slow sipper.
Speaking of time, as of the last drop, the Cosmeteer has officially crossed 24 hours of music.
No way.
Oh, that's awesome.
rad.
Thank you, guys.
Felt like a meaningful milestone.
That is pretty great. Yeah, wow. On the 300.
Sorry,
episode
main
as
feeders,
well.
if we're droning on. We love our Patreon.
No,
You
listen.
should be one too.
You're missing out is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Come by for a month. Check it out. Download it all. Binge it for a month, and then you can back out if you want to.
Yeah.
Give it a shot. Try it out. You'll love it.
That
I
is a
promise
no-no
you.
in sales. You would never say that in sales.
They'll be all right.
That's because we're not in.
Come
sales.
over to the Patreon. I'll
Okay.
tell you the time I sold solar windows and door to door.
Were you like,
Oh, man.
here, install these
I
windows?
sold
You sold
fucking
door to door. You're like, so you'd knock and be like, this fucking door.
Yeah. Listen, use this door for a month. If you don't like it, kick it down.
The worst.
Go back to your old
job
door.
Go back to this little
ever.
crappy door.
A door-to-door door
I had a
salesman?
nervous breakdown when I was like 20 having that job.
Oh, man. I had a door-to-door job once, too. It was terrible.
What was yours?
It was campaigning for an Environment California for like a solar initiative.
Wow.
People hated it.
Just passing Bryce on the sidewalk.
I
both looking
know.
sad.
I sent some young buck home the other day too. He was knocking on mine. I felt so bad. I pointed to the no soliciting sign like a total dick. Hey. And then Don was like,
You're like,
"Bro, he's
that was
he's
me."
not. He's so young. He's trying." I was like, "I know, but all right. I feel a little bad."
All right, well, it's time to swing over to the Collector's Corner. Guys, what do we got this week? Things you're watching into collecting.
This is This is funny because it weirdly like simulation theory style played into our guest today because I had never seen Entourage.
Oh,
And
shit.
So Caitlin was
Oh,
like,
that's right.
Caitlin was like, you gotta watch Entourage. By the way, also we told this to Michael the other day, and he pointed out that he's like, the thing with that show is that it always sort of ends on the beat of it's all good.
100%.
And so we've also been saying that to each other
It's all
nonstop.
Yeah. Every episode ends with them just looking at each other, shrugging, and be like, I guess we win again.
But literally,
Life's so easy.
the last like images that my eyeballs saw before I went to sleep last night, and this was not intentional, was Seth Green being beat up by Bow Wow in an episode of
Wow.
Entourage. And I was like, life is weird.
What jobs did Seth Green not get? That's what I want to know.
I was saying when to Riley, I was like, this kid just went on a booking tear and never stopped.
Man, I know. He's got some magic, that one. I love that. What about you, Bryce? You watching anything you're into right now? You always got something up your sleeve.
Yeah, you know what? I've been on sort of a reading hiatus, but now I'm back in full force, and I'm consuming Kutchin's Ecology of the Soul.
Joshua Kutchin, who's been a former guest on the show.
One of the most forward thinkers in the paranormal today. His new books, Ecology of the Souls, Volume 1, 2, and he has a companion. If you want to see his bibliography and footnotes, he has a whole fucking book for that. But it's great. And and then also just trying to fall back in love with Los Angeles. Okay. You know, I was in some pretty nice places running around, and I was like, I bet LA has some secret honey holes. I'm going to try and find them out. And so I've been trying to fall back in love with
anything particular that's like, magical.
Yeah, I found this great book called Wild LA. It has all these little field trips you can take in and around Los Angeles and explore the nature and cute little, hiking spots and, little hideaway holes. And it's great. So me and my son went on one today. We had a blast. And I was telling Riley, dude, I had my son hanging in a hammock over a creek just an hour outside of LA. And he's like, this is amazing. And then as soon as we get back on the car, wham, fucking nonstop traffic. Just like, can't go anywhere. And I was like, it ruined all the serenity that I had acquired. But
you'll find it again.
Wins and losses.
Yeah.
Wins and losses.
What about you, Michael?
This is one to come out of left field for me, but I've been watching the Olympics. And
fun.
I think they might still be going by the time people hear this. I can't remember how long they last.
Do you need cable to do that, or?
But I've been watching on the old Peacock.
Okay.
And you can like watch like a lot of stuff you can't. It's all on NBC.
I could do that.
But if you have Peacock, you can like I was watching like the women's surfing competition, which is just like
that's cool.
I love surfing.
Yeah.
And it's great. It's just like
watching surfing. It's beautiful.
And it was just one of those things where it's like, oh right. Like global stuff doesn't always have to be terrible.
No.
Right? And like we were talking about Kate and I were just like, it's so nice to actually be able to like turn on something that's like apolitical, that's you can be proud of your country for, that has nothing to do with wars.
Hundo P.
And it's just like, oh, this is actually like, this makes you feel good. We should have more of this in the world. And speaking of LA, we're going to...
the whole intention of the Olympics.
I know.
The whole reason we do it.
I love it. Yeah. And just to watch like these young people be insanely good at everything.
Incredible.
And they'll be here in 4 years.
Wow.
That's talk about magical LA. We're going to be... Maybe we'll get some new highways out of it.
I like that. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, so that's been my thing, because I've also been reading a lot about flying saucers. Okay, huge thanks to Seth Green again for joining us on our 300th episode. I would be remiss also to say thank you, boys. It's been a pleasure.
Oh my God.
I can't believe we've made it this far.
My dude.
Yeah, dude.
It is crazy.
I trumpet that as well.
Heading into a new digit, and what do we call it? Like, I know it's a new like centa.
It's a marker for sure, dude.
I mean, we're jumping from 2s to 3s.
Yeah.
I don't know what to call this thing.
New century.
It's a new century for the show. Right now, we're going to cross over to the other side to discuss how that Life magazine changed the flying saucer game in 1952.
The one with Marilyn Monroe?
Yes, there's so much cool stuff in that article that I just skimmed over because we didn't have time to get into it in this episode, but we're going to deep dive a little bit more into that. So that's going to tie into this deep dive series.
I want to know about those aliens.
I know.
Mr. President.
There's some notable encounters in there that we haven't talked about yet this summer. So Saucerama ain't done yet. If we don't see you there on Friday, we'll see you back here next Wednesday for part 2 of the invasion of the flying saucers. Until then, good night.
And go get regressed.
It's a little too good.
Yeah.
It's a little too good of a... that part.
We choose to go to the moon.
Bigfoot Collectors Club is executive produced by Michael McMillan, Riley Bray, and Bryce Johnson. Our show is engineered, produced, and scored by Riley Bray. Our theme song, Come Alone, is by Suneaters. Follow them on Spotify. Want more BCC? For exclusive full-length episodes every month and total access to the other side. Check out patreon.com/BigfootCollectorsClub.